WNBA free agency could be super exciting. A lot at stake when it comes to building teams for the future. A lot of movement with head coaches. How will that affect things? Obviously, the CBA negotiations, the new media rights deals might affect the length of contracts. Breanna Stewart already said she's going to sign a one-year deal. And then there's the new stars in the league and how their teams might be bolstered, specifically the Indiana Fever, right? With new management coming in, who's going to want to go and play with Caitlin Clark? Well, I've made the case that she is a huge lure for free agents because you not only eat on the court, you eat off the court, right? You eat on the court because she's such a great passer. She's going to feed you and set you up. You eat off the court because your profile gets raised. You get endorsement deals and the like. Just look at Lexi Hull. One high-profile free agent who would be a perfect fit for the Fever is Satou Sabally from the Dallas Wings, who was at the Liberty Parade with her sister, enjoying that. And some people could make the case that maybe she'd want to go to New York as a result. But the Fever, she would be an awesome and amazing fit as the stretch four on that roster. And she actually liked some comments on TikTok about the Fever, wanting to bring her in. Fever will welcome you. She liked that. Would love to see you with the Fever with some heart emojis. Not that that means anything, but nonetheless, that is a positive indicator, at least for Fever fans who are hopeful. And if you're looking at their cap table, it seems like they do have the room to make a big-time acquisition. Kelsey Mitchell is going to get a max deal. That's going to be priority number one. But then they have to bolster the rest of the roster because it's time for the Fever to compete for a championship, and Sabally would be a huge piece for that. Now, you look at the TikTok post or the post I just shared, that's from a Correlations account who does a great job over on Twitter and the like. And there was another follow-up post, I believe, about the Dallas Wings from her same account when somebody asked, Satou, please stay in Dallas. Either way, I'll always support. She said, Dallas will always be my first real American hometown. So for me, that indicates that she is gone. Will always be. That's the past tense, right? She's referencing the past there. It's not going to be where she's going to be in the future. Now, again, like I said, if I'm being completely honest, first of all, TikTok likes mean nothing. It could be totally, absolutely nothing, but it gives us something to run with and speculate and have fun with. That's how NBA free agency has always been treated. She also liked to comment about the Liberty. Of course, her sister was huge in Game 5 for the Liberty in winning that championship. You see them there together celebrating that moment for the Liberty. Congratulations, obviously. So all in good fun. Maybe she had some fun during the parade and was a little bit less selective on what she might be liking on social media. Let's take a look at the Fever cap table for a second, if I'm reading this correctly. So this is Spotrac, right? And I can't promise you all this because I don't crunch all these numbers myself. I'm not an executive, but I'm going off with the information I have available. If you look at it, the Fever are actually in pretty good shape here with the total cap allocations at $849,000 for next year and cap space at $657,000. The big hit is this Katie Lou Samuelson contract. That's the thing that really hurts them. But other than that, most of their contracts are pretty team-friendly. We'll have to figure out what happens with Erica Wheeler. But Kelsey Mitchell is not on the books here. So $200,000+ to Kelsey Mitchell. That still leaves them with a lot of money to shop around. Especially, you got Caitlin Clark at a complete bargain there at $80,000, roughly. Aaliyah Boston also at a complete bargain at $80,000, which when you're on rookie deals in any sport, it tends to help the team building aspect. Now, this is the challenge for the new executive team. I believe Amber Cox starts on October 28th. We still don't know exactly what's going to go down with the Fever's head coach, Christy Sides. The latest reports give you some indications that maybe she won't be long for the team. But when you look at the actual roster needs, right, I've said there's 4 super reliable players. Caitlin, obviously, Aaliyah, obviously, Kelsey, obviously, assuming they bring her back, and Lexi Hull. Where they lack is at that 4 spot. They did not get consistent production from that spot. They were shifting around between Smith and Fagbenle and Dantas. If they can really upgrade that spot, that's a great starting 5. And I could make the case for upgrading Lexi's position specifically, not necessarily replacing her, but that position on the wing. I think they could use someone with size on the wing, because this is a team that needs to improve its defense, needs to improve its rebounding. They need shooters all around, especially the way that they play, the way Clark plays and is going to spray out, the way they want to play the two-woman game with Boston and Clark. So any bench help of shooting variety would be great. And then, of course, if you can land like a stud player, you do that. And Sabally's almost the ideal perfect fit for Indiana. She was 18 points a game last year, 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists. She's actually a pretty good playmaker, especially for her size, a good shooter for her size, more of a spot-up shooter than anything else, but a versatile offensive player in that regard. I wouldn't refer to her, from what I've seen, as a defensive stalwart, but she's got good hands, good activity in a sense of where to be, how to feel herself out on the floor. She knows how to play basketball, right? And that's one of the things I think the Fever are going to build their identity around. One is Clark and speed and pace and players who can play at her pace and play off of her. Clearly, that's been a defined goal for them. The other is smart basketball players, and those go hand in hand. Players that can read and react, because that's basically how Clark is going to want to play. I don't think Clark really wants to play in too much of a structured offense where everything is this action, that action. I think she wants to trust herself. You give her the ball, you let her rock, and everybody plays off of that. So what does that require? Well, that requires players who understand spacing, who understand situation, who understand, how to move off of others and use team chemistry and move the basketball and shoot when they're open and all the basic principles of basketball. And I think Sabally really, really fits into that. So until, there's ink dry on contract, obviously all of it's speculation. And I promise you, I'm not reading too much into TikTok likes, though it did give me a chance to do this video, right? So I like that aspect of it. But we've talked about her as almost the ideal fit for the Fever for a while. And, the expectations have to be very high for Indiana next year, because there's no reason with their core group of players, assuming Kelsey Mitchell's back, that is stars. They've got stars already on the roster. So when you indicate that core group of players, and then you have a chance with a blank slate and new management to paint the canvas as you wish, that's pretty exciting. And there is no reason, whether it's Sabally or a group of other players or whatever moves that they make, there is no reason that the Indiana Fever do not have a championship contending team going into next season. If they don't, then it's a failure of the people who are coming in to take over running the franchise.